It had been a long night, a painfully long one at that. Chuya had been forced to engage in some company festivities, as the boss called it, and it was nothing but a pain in his ass. He was currently wobbling through the hallways, trying to find his apartment after drowning himself in alcohol to make the night bearable. Chuya was grumbling to himself. It's for the team. It's part of the job. Drink, drink. He scoffs as he remembers what the boss told the other workers. Drink up and enjoy yourselves. Bullshit. Why did he have to be forced to drink with people he hardly could stand to be around? Chuya came to a halt in front of his apartment door, his body on the verge of collapsing. He was exhausted both physically and mentally, and the last thing he wanted to do right now was search for his damn key. With a sigh, Chuya bent down, lifted up the mat, and grabbed the emergency key stashed underneath it. Chuya stumbled as he attempted to unlock the door, his head spinning and his vision starting to blur. His mind felt hazy, and his body was on the verge of giving in to exhaustion. His balance was off, and he had to reach out and grab onto the doorframe to steady himself. Chuya managed to unlock the door and stumbled inside, kicking the door shut behind him while still clinging onto the key. He made his way over to the couch, his movements clumsy and uncoordinated. With great effort, he sat down and began to loosen his tie and take off his jacket, carelessly tossing them aside. He slumped against the couch, feeling the weight of exhaustion pressing down on him like a ton of bricks. The moment his head hit the back of the couch, Chuya's eyelids grew impossibly heavy. The room spun lazily around him, the dim light bleeding into hazy darkness. His last coherent thought was something about, "Damn boss making me drink," before his consciousness flickered out completely. His body went slack, one arm dangling off the side of the couch, the other draped over his stomach. A quiet snore escaped him, undignified but unavoidable in his current state. And just like that, Chuya was out cold. An hour later, and Chuya still remained fast asleep. His breathing slow and deep, his face a mask of tranquility. The tension that usually lined his features was nowhere to be found, replaced by a rare, peaceful expression. He had no idea how much time had passed, nor did he care. Sleep enveloped him like a warm blanket, sheltering him from the outside world. He shifted in his sleep, his body subconsciously seeking a more comfortable position, yet his slumber remained deep and undisturbed. Chuya remained oblivious to your presence, completely unaware that someone had entered the apartment. He continued to sleep deeply, his chest rising and falling with a steady rhythm. The sound of footsteps or a door being closed went unheard, his consciousness adrift in the peaceful sea of slumber. He lay there, still and relaxed, without any hint of alarm or awareness, blissfully unaware that he had stumbled into your personal space and made himself comfortable on your couch. As your eyes darted around the apartment, you noticed the emergency key laying on the floor just next to where Chuya was sleeping. It was a clear giveaway that he had used it to let himself in. The sight of the key lying there, coupled with Chuya sprawled out on your couch, told you a story of him entering a place that wasn't his own and passing out. A combination of exhaustion and drunkenness must have led him astray. Chuya stirred slightly at your soft poke, his brow furrowing a little as he slowly began to wake. He opened his eyes, heavy-lidded and bleary, and peered up at you. Your voice, familiar but unexpected, reached his ears. He blinked a few times, trying to bring you into focus. Then, recognition clicked. You were his coworker, living in the apartment next to his. "What?" he muttered, his voice thick with drowsiness. His frown deepened, a stubborn, if groggy, escaping him as he clumsily waved a hand. "Am not," he slurred, voice dripping with irony. Then, as if to prove your point, He immediately tipped sideways against the couch arm, barely catching himself. Okay, maybe a little. His nose scrunched in defeat before his head lolled back against the cushions. Shut up, he added weakly, though there was no bite behind it. Just exhaustion and the faintest hint of embarrassment. His bleary eyes narrowed as he glanced around the room, his alcohol-addled brain struggling to process the unfamiliar decor. With a lazy, drunken smirk, he gestured vaguely at the air. "Oh, honey, this is my apartment," he drawled, voice thick with misplaced confidence. Then, as if to prove his point, he reached for the nearest object, a throw pillow embroidered with floral patterns very much not his style, and hugged it possessively. "See? My fancy pillow." A pause. His brows knit together as he squinted at it. "Since when do I own fancy pillows?" He let out an indignant noise as you yanked the pillow away, his arms flailing slightly as he tried and failed to grab it back. "No, you broke into mine," he insisted, pointing a wobbly finger at you before dramatically sweeping his arm around the room. "This is my, His drunken bravado faltered as he took in the unfamiliar furniture, the decor that screamed not Chuya's taste. "Why the hell do I have a vase?" he muttered, squinting at the aforementioned vase like it had personally betrayed him. Then, with all the misplaced authority of a man who absolutely did not live here, he flopped back onto the couch. "Either way, I'm not moving. Too comfy, a beat. Also, I'm pretty sure I'm dying." His eyebrows almost disappeared into his hairline as you mentioned the time. He groaned dramatically, rubbing a hand over his face and smearing his disheveled bangs across his forehead. 2 a.m.? Fuck, he mumbled, struggling to sit up. He propped himself up on an elbow and peered at you through his lashes with all the sass of a teenager caught sneaking out late. "Why the hell are you even up at this ungodly hour? Shouldn't you be tucked in bed dreaming of puppies and rainbows like a normal person?" Chuya's speech was still a little slurred. His smirk widened, the drunken amusement flickering in his eyes as he lazily gestured at you with a limp wave of his hand. "Oh ho, is it now?" he drawled, voice dripping with sarcasm. "So you get to waltz in at 2 a.m. with no explanation, but I'm the one getting interrogated for breaking in, which I didn't, by the way." He hiccuped mid-sentence, then scowled at the interruption before continuing, wagging a finger at you. "Hypocrisy. Pure hypocrisy." A pause. "Also, I'm still not moving." With that, he flopped back down onto the couch with a huff, kicking off one shoe for dramatic effect. Chuya let out an exaggerated groan as you tugged on his arm, his body flopping limply like a rag doll, completely uncooperative. "Nope," he mumbled, deliberately going boneless and letting his head loll back against the cushions. "This is my apartment now. Squatter's rights. Look it up." When you pulled harder, he dramatically flung his free arm over his eyes. "Ugh, fine, if you're gonna be such a buzzkill." He made a half-hearted attempt to sit up before collapsing sideways again. "Okay, new plan. You carry me." A beat. "No, I could just sleep here. Win-win, really." His grin was lazy, shameless, and utterly infuriating. Chuya saw his opportunity and seized it. As you stumbled forward, caught off guard by his unexpected move, he swiftly grabbed your arm, yanking you towards him with a surprisingly coordinated tug. Your body landed on top of his, and he wrapped an arm lazily around you, holding you close. The smirk never left his lips, a playful glint in his hazy eyes as he met your gaze. "Oh, hi there," he drawled, his tone dripping with smug amusement. His smirk grew impossibly wider at your stunned expression, drunk confidence making him bold as he tightened his grip, just slightly, keeping you pinned against him. "What?" he challenged, voice low and teasing. "You pulled first, can't blame me for, A pause as his alcohol-fogged brain struggled for a witty comeback, winning. He was clearly too pleased with himself, his grin lopsided, his cheeks still flushed from the booze. And yet, despite the absurdity of the situation, there was something disarmingly warm in the way his fingers idly traced circles against your back. Like even in his drunken state, he couldn't resist the pull of closeness. His grin turned downright insufferable the moment he caught your blush, his eyes tracking the way you scrambled to put distance between you two. He let out a low, raspy chuckle, equal parts smug and oddly fond, as he propped himself up on his elbows. Yeah, well, he mused, tilting his head, you're blushing. So I'd say we're even. A beat. More than even, actually. His gaze lingered on you, half-lidded and teasing, as he flopped back against the cushions with a satisfied sigh, like he just won some unspoken game. The easy, almost playful smirk he wore faltered, just for a brief moment, as you pulled away and stood up. He tried to cover it with another lazy grin, though even in his slightly inebriated state, his body language betrayed a hint of disappointment. He watched as you paced away, his eyes following the movement, a pang of something. Loneliness, maybe, tugging at his chest. But instead of showing it, he masked the feeling with a scoff and an exaggerated pout. Hey, where you going? I was comfy. He watched you retreat toward the bedroom, his expression a mix of tipsy confusion and a subtle hint of disappointment. His head lolled against the couch cushion as he stared after you. He groaned dramatically, his words slightly slurred. Hey, wait, can I come with? The question was a bold, drunken one, filled with a hint of childish entitlement. The sharpness of your voice made him flinch, his smug expression cracking for a second. He let out an exaggerated sigh, though there was something almost petulant in the way he slumped further into the couch. Fian, throwing an arm over his face like a dramatic Victorian widow. Abandoned, betrayed, left to wither away on this cold, unforgiving couch. A pause, then muffled by fabric. You're mean. The sudden reappearance and the blanket sailing towards him made him startle a little. But his expression instantly brightened when he realized what it was. He caught the fabric in midair, draping it haphazardly over his body like a haphazard drunken burrito. Ah, my hero, he said theatrically, his tone dripping with mock exaggeration, though there was a genuine note of thankfulness in his eyes as he peered up at you from beneath the blanket. A lazy smile tugged at his lips. My savior, how shall I ever repay you? He let out a soft, amused huff at your command, but obediently shut his mouth, though the smirk still lingered. He wiggled under the blanket, getting himself almost comfortably settled before peeking one eye open to look at you. Good night, he mumbled finally, voice quieter now as drowsiness started to overtake him again. A beat of silence passed before he added in a slurred whisper. Don't go. And then, like flipping a switch, he was out cold.